What about my love? Wasn't it enough? Just let me know so I can hold.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing the weekly NFL recap. With all that being said, let's get right into it. Bryce Young, first overall pick, gets his first NFL win over second overall pick CJ Stroud. Panthers win 15-13 over the Texans. Speaking of CJ Stroud, he goes 16 of 24, no touchdowns, no picks, 140 yards. Bryce Young goes 22 of 31 for 235 yards and one touchdown. Dameon Pierce, the leading rusher for the Texans offense, 12 carries, 46 yards, while the leading rusher for the Carolina Panthers is third-year man out of Oklahoma State, Chuba Hubbard, 15 carries, 28 yards. Noah Brown, 3 catches, 57 yards for the Texans, while the leading receiver for the Panthers offense is the veteran Adam Thielen with 8 catches for 72 yards. Panthers win 15-13. Next up, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Buffalo Bills. The Bills will win this one 24-18. I think I was the only one in ECG who picked the Tampa Bay Bucks to win this one, and they almost made me look like a genius. The Bills won this one 24-18. Baker Mayfield goes 25 of 42 for 237 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Josh Allen goes 31 of 40 for 324 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Rachaad White, 9 carries, 39 yards, and also led the Bucs offense in receiving with 7 catches for 70 yards. James Cook, second-year man out of Georgia, leading the Bills in rushing with 14 carries for 67 yards, while Khalil Shakir was the leading receiver for the Bills offense with 6 catches for 92 yards. Final play of the game, Baker Mayfield chucks up a Hail Mary. Didn't work. Bills win 24-18. Next up, we got the New York Jets and New York Giants. The Jets win this one in overtime, 13-10. Zach Wilson goes 17 of 36 for 240 yards and 1 touchdown, while Tyrod Taylor, the leading passer for the Giants, and let me repeat that again, the leading passer for the Giants, 4 of 7 for 8 yards, gets injured, I believe, early in the second quarter. Tommy DeVito comes in, doesn't complete another pass the entire game. Zach Wilson, also the leading rusher for the Jets, 4 carries, 25 yards, while Saquon Barkley did everything for this Giants offense, 36 carries, 128 yards. Garrett Wilson doing his thing, 7 catches, 100 yards, while Matt Breida was the leading receiver for the Giants with 1 catch for 4 yards. Kayvon Thibodeau had himself the best game of his career with 3 sacks. Now that puts him as the 3rd highest sack leader in the NFL. However, this performance wasn't good enough to get the Giants the win. Jets win 13-10 in overtime. Next up, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars and Pittsburgh Steelers. Jags win this one 20-10. Trevor Lawrence goes 24 of 32 for 292 yards, 1 touchdown, and one of the stupidest red zone interceptions I've ever seen directly into triple coverage. Mitch Trubisky goes 15 of 27 for 138 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Leading rusher for the Jacksonville offense, Travis Etienne Jr., 24 carries, 79 yards, while Jaylen Warren had 5 carries for 19 yards. Evan Ingram had himself an elite performance, 10 catches, 88 yards. DeAndre Johnson had himself a decent game as well, 8 catches, 85 yards. Jags win 20-10. Next up, we got the Philadelphia Eagles and Washington Commanders. Eagles win this one 38-31. Jalen Hurts goes 29 of 38 for 319 yards and 4 touchdowns, while Sam Howell goes 39 of 52 for 397 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. DeAndre Swift, 16 carries, 57 yards, 1 touchdown. Brian Robinson Jr., 10 carries, 59 yards. A.J. Brown sets a new NFL record, the most consecutive games with 120-plus yards receiving, 8 catches, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jahan Dotson has himself a great performance as well. 8 catches, 108 yards, and 1 touchdown. However, wasn't enough to bring the Commanders to victory. Eagles win this game 38-31 in Washington. Next up, we got the Falcons and Titans. Titans pull off the victory 28-23. Will Levis in his NFL debut goes 19 of 29, 238 yards, 4 touchdowns. Basically a perfect performance for the rookie out of Kentucky. Taylor Heinicke coming off the bench after Desmond Ridder basically destroys his career. Taylor Heinicke goes 12 of 21, 175 yards, 1 touchdown. Bijan Robinson led the Falcons in rushing with 11 carries for 62 yards yards and a touchdown. Derrick Henry once again doing his thing, 22 carries, 101 yards. Kadero Hodge leading the Falcons in receiving with 3 catches for 75 yards, while DeAndre Hopkins had 4 catches, 128 yards, and 3 touchdowns for this Titans offense. Titans win 28-23. Next up, we got Bengals 49ers. Bengals win this one in San Fran, 31-17. Are the Bengals back? Personally, I think so. Joe Burrow, 28 of 32, 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, while Brock Purdy goes 22 of 31, 365 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Joe Mixon, 16 carries, 87 yards, and a touchdown. Brock Purdy, 6 carries, 57 yards. Jamar Chase, 10 catches, 100 yards, 1 touchdown. George Kittle, 9 catches, 149 yards. However, those 149 yards weren't enough to bring this Niners team to victory. Bengals win 31-17. Next up, we got Dolphins and Patriots. Dolphins beat the Patriots 31-17 in one of the most stupidly reffed games I've ever seen. Mac Jones goes 19 of 29, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick, while Tua Tagovailoa goes 30 of 45 for 324 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Raheem Mostert was the leading rusher for the Dolphins with 13 carries, 46 yards, and a touchdown. Jalen Waddle doing his thing for the Dolphins, 7 catches, 121 yards, and a touchdown. Dolphins won 31-17. All right, next up, we got Ravens and Cardinals. Ravens going to Arizona and win 31-24. Lamar Jackson, 18 of 27, 157 yards, 1 touchdown. Joshua Dobbs, 25 of 37, 208 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Gus Edwards leading the Ravens in rushing, 19 carries, 80 yards, 3 touchdowns for Gus the Bus. Amari, cannot pronounce that last name, 20 carries, 78 yards for the Cardinals offense. Justice Hill, 4 catches, 40 yards for the Ravens. Trey McBride had himself hopefully his breakout performance. He hasn't done anything so far in his career, not to be mean, but 10 catches, 95 yards, and a touchdown for Trey McBride, second-year tight end out of Colorado State. Ravens win 31-27. Next up, Raiders-Lions. The Lions win this one at home on Monday night, 26-14. Lions at 2-6, Raiders at 3-5. Jimmy Garoppolo, 10 of 21, 126 yards, 1 touchdown. 1 interception. Jared Goff, 26 of 37, 272 yards, 1 touchdown, and a pick 6 to Marcus Peters. Josh Jacobs, 15 carries, 61 yards, and finally a touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs, his breakout performance of his rookie season, 26 carries, 152 yards, and a touchdown. Josh Jacobs actually led the Raiders offense in receiving, 2 catches, 27 yards, while Amon-Ra St. Brown cooking as per usual, 6 catches, 108 yards for the Lions offense. The Lions win 26-14.
Cowboys-Rams. Let's talk about that one first. So the Dallas Cowboys beat the Los Angeles Rams 43-20 on Sunday at noon. Matthew Stafford and the Rams really didn't have a good time versus Cowboys defense. This Cowboy defense really had their way. The Rams did try a second half comeback, but it wasn't in vain enough because you had Dak Prescott probably have his best game of the year, going 25 for 31, 304 yards, 4 touchdowns and an interception. And then leading the way in receiving was CeeDee Lamb with 12 receptions for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns. So the Cowboys had their fun with the receiving game, and the passing game was very hard for the Rams to stop. So the Cowboys took the dub there. Let's talk about now the Packers and Vikings game. Now, the thing with this Packers-Vikings game, the Vikings just absolutely dominated the Packers. The Packers defense tried to hold the Packers in this game as long as they could, but they could not stop Kirk Cousins before he got hurt, having a great game. Kirk Cousins, before he got hurt, and Jaren Hall had to come in, went 23 for 31, 274 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Kirk Cousins was absolutely dotting up and torching this Packers defense. You had KJ Osborne with 8 receptions for 99 yards, TJ Hawkinson 6 for 88, and then Jordan Addison 7 for 82. So the Vikings were able to pass the ball all over this Packers defense, while the Packers offense really couldn't get anything going. Though one thing for the Packers that does look good, though, is Jaden Reed is looking to become the wideout one there, leading the way with 4 receptions for 83 yards. Jordan Love did not look good as well, overthrowing and underthrowing his receivers. And then Colts for Saints, Derek Carr looked nice. And I mean nice. 19 for 27, 310 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Colts really had themselves a good game as well, with Gardner Minshew going 23 for 41, 213 yards, 2 touchdowns and interception. And then they finally gained Jonathan Taylor back in the offense with 12 carries for 95 yards. Josh Downs had a good game with 7 receptions for 72 yards, looking to be the player that they drafted for as a steal. And then, of course, Rashid Shaheed with the Saints absolutely had himself a day. 3 receptions for 153 yards and a touchdown. So the Saints was able to pass their way on over the Colts, and the Colts could not keep up with Derek Carr and the Saints passing offense. And it was probably the greatest upset this week we had. The Denver Broncos going on a 2-game win streak, upsetting the Kansas City Chiefs 24-9. Patrick Mahomes did not look like the MVP that we all know that he is. He went 24 for 38 for 241 yards passing and 2 interceptions. Now, he was dealing with the flu as well in this game, but Travis Kelce, 6 for 58 yards, not his best game. But the good news from Kansas City is Rasheed Walker is starting to look like he will be the wideout one there. And then Javonte Williams having himself a decent game with 27 carries for 85 yards, averaging 3 yards a carry. Jerry Jeudy led the way for the Broncos with 2 receptions for 50 yards and a touchdown. Russell Wilson really didn't do much passing due to the snow. Went 12 for 19 for 114 yards and 3 touchdowns. When he was passing, Russell Wilson looked very good. So you got that for the Broncos. And then this Browns-Seahawks slugfest. And I mean slugfest, because Philip Walker for the Browns went 15 for 31, 248 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. It looks like the Browns should probably be starting DTR, the rookie out of UCLA, because Philip Walker's really didn't impress me at all. But for both sides of the ball, it was a battle of who could run the ball better, and the Seahawks came out on top with Kenneth Walker leading the way with 8 carries for 66 yards, and then Zach Charbonnet with the 1-2 punch going 5 for 53 yards as well. And then you had some decent games by Tyler Lockett, 8 for 81 yards, a touchdown. DK 5 for 67. JSN had a touchdown, and then for the Browns wides, you had Amari Cooper absolutely doing what he does best with 6 receptions for 89 yards. But this game was who could run the ball better, and it was shown that the Seattle Seahawks could do that.
All right, the final game we're going to go over, Chargers-Bears. The Chargers beat the Bears 30-13. Tyson Bagent, 25 of 37, 232 yards, 2 picks. Justin Herbert having himself a rebound game, 31 of 40, 298 yards, 3 touchdowns. Deontay Foreman, 9 carries, 34 yards. Austin Eckler, 15 carries, 29 yards. However, he did have 7 catches for 94 yards and a touchdown. Cole Kmet, 10 catches, 79 yards. Chargers blow out the Bears 30-13. This has been the weekly NFL recap brought to you by East Coast Gridiron. If you like what you saw, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like the video if you haven't already, ring that notification bell, leave a comment, tell us what you think, and share this out on your social media platforms. We appreciate you guys for watching. We're out of here. Peace.